Chapter 9. The thing that is really hard and really amazing is giving up on being perfect and beginning the work of becoming yourself. Anna Quindlen. Chapter U. Building a deep and close relationship with someone is about knowing and accepting them, warts and all. It is the same when it comes to loving ourselves. You know, the fascinating thing for me with writing this book is how different it is compared to reading it. You just turn the page and here's Chapter U. Meanwhile, you don't know that I've been so yearning to get to this computer, to carry on writing, but been doing the single motherhood come working hard balancing act for the past few weeks, while craving to rejoin this journey. I've realized that if I don't just sit down and write from time to time, I'll either never get this guide out there, or I'll marry before it's done, rendering the survival guide to parenthood through the eyes of a single mother, authentic but not personally present tense. I don't have a prognosticating capacity here. In English, I don't have a clue when that's likely to take place. I always say, I'm open to finding a partner to journey through life with, and it all depends on the Almighty's plans, and they haven't been mailed to me, so I can't comment. Although, as we've covered earlier, any partnered parent who parents on their own from time to time understands single parenting, that's for sure, even though they may seem to have more support generally. So this chat is about looking in the mirror, and we certainly don't need to end a relationship to be prompted to do so. I hope it has value for you. Looking back, I completely own the decisions I made previously, embrace the lessons that were learned as a result of those choices, and I am grateful daily for the product thereof. Of course, a major part of that produce is my special baby child, and comes attached with a lifetime guarantee of interaction with my original choice, my now ex-husband, but worth every breath of it without question. It's a confusing thing, the ex thing. You leave or get divorced because you've reached a decision, together or unilaterally, to no longer pursue the marriage thing. As I've said before, that should only come at the end of a long list of attempts to make it. And then you have no choice but to interact on supposed common ground indefinitely. Now what's up with that? You don't want to interact any longer, so you get divorced. To be sure you have to interact for the rest of your life. Makes excellent sense, right? On top of that, if you're blessed with acrimony, it's close to impossible to maintain civility for long periods of time, regardless of the effort expended. One person's efforts do not a civil conversation make, if you're having conversations. With acrimony, there is only downsides. The way I see it, children pick up on the lack of friendliness in a heartbeat. It's exhausting to play into another's acrimony, and it serves no one positively. I'm sure you have loads more downsides. The point is, how do we balance dealing with the old news repeatedly and the politics thereof, if there is politics, and welcoming new news in the same lifetime, and on top of that, still feel balanced and in harmony with the spin of the universe? I've heard it said that marriage is a wonderful institution. But who wants to live in an institution, right? Well, it depends on the decor and the inmates, I think. It's much more of a cautious step to take when you have a young'un to consider, or 2 or 3 or more. Now, I'm definitely all for welcoming a new partner, but there are a few steps that need to be taken along the way, mostly to ensure the choice we make is in everyone's best interest. I've met many people who date shortly after becoming separated. If you're a free agent, honey, you can go out there, and I'll chat about that soon. But when there's a posse at home looking to you for stability, because their living structure is shattering around them, think carefully whose interests you're serving. Often we hear of people who stay together for the children. Then we hear of people who leave to protect their children. We're going to exclude for now those who serve themselves only. Point is, if we're partly making choices to best meet the needs of our children, then that should be consistent. There's plenty of good time to be dating and being open to the possibility of better opportunities. But while you're in the middle of upsetting the living arrangements and organizational structure surrounding your family, that's not prime dating time. Build the fort up again for them, fortify the foundations of their security, and then head out to add to your personal life and your family. I can empathize with the search party dating though. Our ultimate needs fulfillment is found in sharing ourselves with another. We want to be married or partnered, not divorced or on our own. We choose to divorce because beyond all reasonable effort and persistence, the marriage is not coming together. But let's drag out the honest bug here for a second. We'd rather be in a healthily working relationship than out there alone raising a family, right? Come on. Okay now, so why do people date practically immediately out of the split-up starting gates? Probably because people are all searching for the happily ever after that they feel they just lost the potential of by ending the relationship. They're thinking, I'd much rather be with someone than on my own, so they date. Or, this is not about me wanting to be alone, this is about me not wanting to be with him or her. Remember the rule, that applies below too. So they date. Either way, it's not the right timing for many reasons. At the outset of any new relationship, there is a lot of outward focus required to cement the foundations of it and create a basis from which it can bloom properly, right? Okay. So that takes major energy in and around running a home, your children, your career or job, yourself, and on and on. And most importantly, creating an environment and a new framework in which your children will feel most securely held. And besides, if you rush out to date when you're barely officially or unofficially out of your marital relationship, you're very likely to make the same choice you made that got you to this point for starters. Why? Well, because you haven't yet had time to reflect. What I mean by that is, have you sat down and really thought about why you chose someone least likely to meet the real needs you have? Have you challenged why you stayed so long with that person? His behavior might be abominable, but why did you stay long enough to have a child, a second child, and a second mortgage? And so it goes on. I'm not encouraging regret here. On the contrary, I'm encouraging we embrace the gifts that emerge from every life situation we live through, but also the lessons. And they only present themselves with challenge and reflection. Because until we embrace the lessons, we will most likely repeat what we have done without meaning to at all. Why is that? Well, you might not like what you hear or feel, and so deny it. You're not perfect. It's not ever the goal to be perfect. And fights only continue because there's two people in the ring. When one leaves, the other looks a little odd fighting all by himself. No? Own it. That's what I'm saying. There'll be stuff that's totally unacceptable that you lived through and endured. There'll be circumstances, most often financial, that kept you in that place beyond reasonable time. Own that you stayed. Work with it. Figure you out. Grow yourself so that you don't repeat this pattern, or you will. Most likely, unfortunately, you will.